All right, thank you again for still sustaining your attention if you've managed to watch video 1 and 2. Now I'm going to go on to the third video in the series, and I said that I'd discuss a little bit more about the basics of the energy balance equation. So this is the fundamental thing that you need to think about when thinking about your goals. So as I said, your goal could be to put on muscle. It could be to maintain your body as it is, or it might be to lose fat. All of these will need to consider the balance of the energy equation. Okay, so you heard it before, calories in, calories out. Okay, it's not quite as simple as that. Okay, there's a lot more behind it. There's the genetics factor, there's other sort of issues, but basically that's what it boils down to. If you want to, I know a lot of people, it's about losing fat. If you want to lose fat, it's about getting that equation right so that you're in a calorie deficit. So that means that you are using more calories than you take in. Okay, so on one side of the equation we've got the calories in, so that's the food that you consume basically. So that's all the different meals that you eat. Each give you different energy. So for carbohydrates per gram, you've got 4 calories per gram. For protein, it's 4 calories as well. And for fats, it's 9 calories per gram. Okay, so per gram, fats are going to give you more energy than carbohydrates and protein. So that's why you sometimes have to be a little bit more careful about the amounts that you consume of each of these different macronutrients, because they each contain a different amount of energy. On a side note, alcohol contains 7 calories per gram, should we say. So they don't really provide much in terms of nutrients. So when people say they're empty calories, they generally are pretty empty. There are certain things that we could go down in terms of what alcohol gives, but you think about alcohol as well as the kind of maybe less than optimal choices that you make. Someone's having flashbacks to a night out there, I'm thinking, and maybe the people that they've made friends with during that time. But yeah, alcohol, there's a whole host of different things that alcohol does to your body. So that's one thing I would like you all to maybe consider when looking at your own diets, is your alcohol consumption, and maybe identifying ways on how you can look at improving the relationship in that respect, because you could actually take a lot of calories out your diet by maybe reducing your consumption. I'm not saying you have to stop drinking alcohol. You know, everyone's entitled to enjoy and do things that they like, and alcohol is part of a social side of things as well for many people. So just about being aware of the impact that alcohol has. But again, I'm not going to labour that point. I'm sure many of you kind of appreciate the sort of different aspects of alcohol, not just physically what it does, but mentally as well. Anyway, going back to what this video was about, the balance equation. So yes, calories in, that is the foods that you take in basically. So that's the energy that's coming into your body. And then energy going out, a lot of people just think it's the physical activity, these classes that you go to, the runs that you do. No, that's not the only sort of energy out. The calories aren't just burned through physical activity. A large proportion of your energy out actually is just the energy used to keep your body systems going. So this is known as your basal metabolic rate. So this is the energy used just while resting, not doing anything at all. So lying down, nothing at all. That's the energy that your body needs just to do that. So to keep the brain functioning, to keep the heart beating, to keep the blood flowing, to do all these hormonal things in your body, that makes up, it's about 60 to 70% of your calories for the day is used through just to survive basically. Okay, so you need a certain amount of calories just to keep your body functioning. Okay, so that's where a large proportion of your calories go to in terms of burning. We've obviously got the physical activity side of things as well. So, that's planned physical activity. So, the different things that you do through the day, the walks, the runs, the cycling, the classes. But it's also the unplanned. So a lot of you might have heard of NEAT. So that's your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. What that means is the little things that you do sort of without planned, so it's unplanned little things that you do, like your fidgeting, your movements, taking the stairs instead of using the escalator, because that's just little bits of movement throughout your day that it's not that you've structured these into the day, they're just natural things that kind of happen, or the choices that you make. Okay, so that takes up some of the energy output as well. And then about 6 to 10% of your energy output actually comes from the process of digesting your food. So the thermodynamic effect of food. So it takes a certain amount of energy in order to digest foods. And there's certain foods that will take more energy to digest down than other foods. So that's another factor. It takes up about, as I say, 6 to 10% of your daily energy requirements through that. So these are all something that balances that equation. So you can manipulate either side of the equation, take in less calories in order to get that calorie deficit, but you can also move more, as you often hear. So build that energy expenditure up in order to lose weight and lose fat. So to maintain, you've got to think about making the calories in the same as the calories out. To put on weight and to help towards building muscle, you've got to think about taking in more calories than you burn. And then to lose fat, you've got to think about burning more calories than you take in. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. So that's the basics of your balance equation. Okay, and that's a fundamental for weight loss and weight gain and maintenance. Okay, so that's where all these different diets, a lot of it just boils down to they are just manipulating the calories in versus the calories out. Okay, so that's important. So best diet is one that you use that knowledge to then formulate your diet for the goals that you want, be that to put on weight, to lose weight, and in that respect I mean lose fat, or to build muscle, or just to maintain your body composition as it is. So I'm going to talk in the next video about what happens on 1,000 calorie a day diet, because as I've just said, the basal metabolic rate, there's a certain amount of calories that you need just to allow your body to function. So a lot of these diets and crash diets often go below that, which is scary, because it's a very scary place to be. So that's what's coming up in the next video.